Every year, cities across Canada dump sewage-contaminated water into nature. We're talking billions and billions of liters. So the subject of this video is quite simple. How do we stop doing that? English Bay Beach is one of the busiest beaches in Vancouver. On a sunny day, it's teeming with people. But last summer, it was closed for swimming because the water here was also teeming with something else. E. coli. From sewage. And this is a pretty common occurrence. Almost every year, beaches, lakes, and other water bodies are closed to swimming across Canada because there is fecal matter mixed into the water, our poop. So let's start with this question. How did that poop get there? Well, it's because of something called the combined sewer and stormwater system. Let me explain how it works. When you flush your stuff, it flows into a network of sewage pipes that lead to a sewage treatment plant, where it's cleaned and treated before the remaining water is dumped into the ocean. Pretty straightforward, right? But in a combined sewer and stormwater system, sewage isn't the only thing that goes into those pipes. There's also stormwater. When it rains, all that water has to go somewhere, and when it hits a hard surface like asphalt, glass, or concrete, all those droplets pool together, creating a stream of water called stormwater. In a combined system, that stormwater also flows into our sewage pipes. Just like our sewage, it flows to the sewage treatment plant to be cleaned and treated. And this is where we find the root of this problem. The amount of sewage flowing in a city at any given time is pretty consistent, but the amount of rainwater a city receives fluctuates wildly. So when there's a bad rainstorm, there ends up being way too much water flowing through our pipes for the sewage treatment plant to handle. And the result? All the excess stormwater and sewage combo overflows into a nearby water body, whether it's a stream, lake, or beach. This combined system has historically been the system of choice in older cities across North America, which means this problem is pretty much everywhere. In 2017, over 167 billion, yes, billion liters of combined sewage and stormwater leaked into water bodies across Canada, in every province except for PEI, Newfoundland, and Saskatchewan. So, how do we stop doing that? How do we get our sewage and stormwater management to act together? Well, there are many solutions, but they roughly fall into two categories: gray infrastructure and green infrastructure. So under gray infrastructure, we have more heavy-duty approaches to dealing with stormwater. One solution that falls under this category is to store this water temporarily. That's the case in Tokyo, where the city has constructed enormous underground caves that hold excess stormwater during typhoons. But even with these large caves, there are still larger storms that occasionally overwhelm the city's sewage system. Another popular solution is to completely separate stormwater and sewage into two different pipe networks. That way, sewage can be taken to sewage treatment plants while stormwater can just flow out into the ocean. Sounds simple enough, right? But that's until you actually do it. You have to remember that these pipes are underground, most of them beneath our roads. So to separate them, you first need to tear up the road to get to those pipes and replace them. Rinse and repeat that for every street that has a combined pipe, and that quickly adds up to a massive project. It's hard to convey just how massive it is, but I'd like to try by showing you this map of sewage pipes in Vancouver. The government here has been working to separate out its sewage pipes since the 70s. In green are the pipes they have separated from stormwater, and in red are the pipes they have left. Every red line here represents a pipe that has to be separated by tearing up the street and replacing the pipes. Finishing this job won't take years, it will take decades. There's another thing I need to mention here. Separating pipes is not a perfect solution. Stormwater isn't sewage, but it's definitely not clean water either. As it flows off buildings and through the streets, it picks up pollutants and other random garbage. So it's probably not a great idea to discharge that water directly into natural water bodies without some sort of treatment first. Then we have green infrastructure. These are projects that prevent stormwater from going into a pipe in the first place by having it follow a more natural process. Out in the wild, there are no pipes. Instead, rain is absorbed into the ground or pooled into streams and rivers that flow out into lakes and oceans. Green infrastructure solutions try to mimic that process in an urban area. This could include bioswales, green roofs, or other permeable spaces that collect and absorb rainwater. It can even be as simple as planting more trees. It turns out trees are actually really good at soaking up water with their leaves and roots. But green infrastructure projects can also be quite ambitious. One of my favorite solutions involves replacing stormwater pipes with their more natural counterparts, rivers and streams. In Seoul, Korea, an old river that was once covered up and diverted into pipes was recently restored back into a river, the Cheonggyecheon River. It now holds more stormwater than the pipes it replaced, while providing a habitat for animals and a park for human beings. But even this approach isn't perfect. Green infrastructure doesn't make sense everywhere, and the science behind it is admittedly less predictable than simply directing water into a pipe. Many experts now say that the best strategy to manage stormwater is a combination of both gray and green infrastructure. What I've really come to understand is that there is no easy fix to all this. It will take many different solutions working together to manage our sewage and stormwater. But most of all, I think it will take persistence. Because at the end of the day, an issue like this ultimately requires time, money, and a commitment to solving the problem. I really do have hope that if we keep our eye on the prize, maybe, just maybe, we will one day finally stop dumping literal sewage into the water.